Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because we're going to be doing a comparison between the new Menagerie Cosmetics Pastel Pup Palette and the Shroud Cosmetics Creepy Cute Palette. This does say Strobe Cosmetics because that was their previous name, but they now are Shroud Cosmetics. And these are both really beautiful pastel palettes on the indie market, so I want to go ahead and take the time to go in depth and compare them with you. I know when I mentioned this in my indie makeup releases and said I wanted to compare them, you all seemed really excited about the idea. Just to quickly sum up the content of this video, I'm going to start off by giving you some information about the palettes, then we're going to jump into the demo. I have each palette on each of my eyes. I'm not going to let you know which palette is on which eye until the end of the demo, just so you can really watch it, take it all in, not have any bias. And then I'm going to do some swatches of the comparable shades in each palette, and I'm going to finish off by giving you my quick thoughts on each formula and who I would recommend them for. So let's just go ahead and jump right on in. So starting off with the Shroud Cosmetics Creepy Cute palette, this retails for $35 and it does have a net weight of 12 grams. It does contain 8 matte shadows. All of the shades in this palette are available as singles if you want to purchase them individually. I know my friend Betty Jean, or Bean as you might know her, does have a code with Shroud Cosmetics. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I will make sure to link it down below in case you want to save a little bit of money on this one if you are interested in purchasing it. It does also have a mirror. Both of these palettes are vegan and cruelty-free, which is great. So the Pastel Pup palette retails for $36 and it does come with 12 shades. Again, it has a mirror, and this particular one has 24 grams of product, so it's twice the size of the Creepy Cute, but it's basically the same price, except Menagerie pretty much never does discount codes. It's very, very rare for them. So pretty much the price you see is the price you get unless you wait till like Black Friday or something. So those are the quick details. Let's go ahead and jump on into the demo. I prime my eyes with the P. Louise base in the shade White, and in between each eye I'm going to be using my color switch with my brushes just to make sure that I'm not mixing the palettes. So I'm going to start off with the light blue shade in the Creepy Cute palette. That would be Cold Shoulder, and in the Pastel Pup palette that would be the shade Aquatic. I'm going to go ahead and start by tapping that blue on the front third of the eye. I'm not going to be going in with any shimmers for the lid, so I am going to tap it all over the lid as well and then lightly blend. And again, just doing the same thing on the other side, just lightly tapping it on and blending out. Alright, now for the Creepy Cute, I'm going to go into the shade Creep It Real, and for the Pastel Pup, I'm going to go into the shade Ice Worm. And I'm going to go ahead and tap that shade on the center of the lid. Again, just starting off by patting it, and then tapping it into the crease and lightly blending it out. Trying to go in with about the same amount of each palette. I'm just dipping in once and then blending and then dipping in about 2 more times. But I'm trying to keep it even so you can see exactly how much pigmentation there is. Of course, I'm not telling you what's happening yet, so you have to guess which shade is. I'm just lightly blending that out. Alright, now I'm going to use the shade Take a Hint and the shade Flipper. And I'm going to pop that on the rest of the eye, what's left. Again, just patting and blending. I feel like we're gonna go in with all matte, so I really need to think of a good inner corner highlight for this look. Okay, so that's kind of the first little application. I'm going to quickly go back in with each shade, which is something I do a lot with pastels. Once I kind of finish blending, I'll go back in and kind of just pack them on a little bit more, add some extra emphasis, make sure I'm not losing any of the shades. So I'm going to kind of speed that up. Alright, now moving on to the lower lash line, I'm going to go into the shade Void and the shade Whisker. And I'm going to run that on the outer half of the lower lash line. Oh, I almost went in with the wrong black. Alright, now I'm going to go into the shade Planchette and the shade Belly Slide. I'll put that shade on the front half of the lower lash line. Okay, so for my inner corner, I'm going to go ahead and take Space Baby from Terra Moon's Cosmetics. So pretty. I'm going to finish off this look quickly by taking my Pixie black liner, throwing it in my waterline, throwing on some mascara, and I'll be right back. Alright, let's finish this up really quickly because the face is definitely not the point of this video, but if I don't say it during the video, I probably won't remember. So for highlight today, I'm going to pull out my Glazed Donut from Ofra. It's been a minute. I've not worn this highlight in forever. I forgot how blinding it is. For lips, I'm going to go into this Tarte lip balm in the shade Rose. It's just going to add a little bit of color, just like a glossy lip. Alright, so now is your last chance. This is my right eye, this is my left eye. Which eye do you think is Pastel Pup and which do you think is Creepy Cute? Alright, I'm so excited to see if you guys got this wrong or right. My right eye is the Menagerie Pastel Pup, and my left eye is the Shroud Cosmetics Creepy Cute. So please let me know if you were right or wrong. I'm so curious. Alright, so let's jump into some swatches. There's obviously less shades in the Creepy Cute palette. So the first shade here is Tombstone, which is a kind of deep gray, and there is nothing comparable in the Pastel Pup palette. Next we have the shade Planchette, which is a really beautiful light lavender, and I would personally compare that to the shade Belly Slide. So here is Planchette, and here is Belly Slide. I feel like Planchette is a little bit more muted. Next we have the shade Creep It Real, which is a little bit more of a mint tone, and I would personally compare that to the shade Ice Worm. So here is Creep It Real, which is swatching a little funky. And here is Ice Worm. Okay, the Menagerie ones really don't like being swatched. I'm trying to build these up a little bit. I don't know if you can tell, but Creep It Real is definitely a lot more vibrant. Alright, next we have the shade Cold Shoulder, which I'm going to compare to the shade Aquatic. So here is Cold Shoulder, and here is Aquatic. I'm not sure how helpful these swatches are going to be. Pastels just tend to swatch weird, and it's been a really long time since I swatched the the Creepy Cute, so I didn't remember how it swatched exactly. I normally just obviously use it on my eyes, but there you can kind of see that. Again, I feel like the Creepy Cute is just a little bit more vibrant. Alright, next we have the shade Strawberry Milk, which is kind of like this creamsicle orangey pinky shade, and there's nothing comparable in the palette. There is a true orange and a true pink, but this is not even close, so I'm not going to swatch them next to each other. And then we have the shade Take a Hint, which is more of a bright green. Oops, I started swatching. Forgot to mention that I'm going to go ahead and compare that one to this shade right here called Flipper. Okay, here is Take a Hint, and here is Flipper. So I found the pigmentation on those two to be pretty similar, but Take a Hint is a little bit more like limey. It has just a touch more yellow to it, and Flipper is more of a true green. I'm looking at the swatches now, and I'm really glad that I decided to do the demo, just because I feel like the swatches, it's a lot harder to see, and the demo was so much more hands-on, really getting to see the difference between the shades. So the next shade in the palette is the shade Void, and wonder what I'm going to compare this to. I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Whiskers. Okay, so I dug into both shades, and I don't know if you can tell right off the bat, but this is Shroud, and this is Menagerie. I feel like you can tell. I had a feeling when I swatched it that the Menagerie one just looks a little bit more gray, and the Creepy Cute is just like a true black. So here is Boyd, and here is Whisker. And just for comparison's sake, just to show you the other gray, actually I'm going to go ahead and grab a little bit of Tombstone and do a swatch of that. It is a bit lighter, but just to give you a quick comparison, here is Tombstone. So I feel like that's like a nice like little gradient scale right there. Last but not least, we have the shade Third Eye, which is the orange, and I'm going to compare that to the shade Fishy, this orange, but this one is definitely way lighter. So here is Third Eye and Fishy. Like I said, you can barely even see Fishy, even built up on the eyes. It's just a very, very pale like peach. And just for the heck of it, since I already have it swatched there, I'm going to go ahead and just show you Strawberry Milk next to that. So you can see it's a lot more pink. And then since we're at basically the end, I'm going to go ahead and quickly show you Cuddle next to Strawberry Milk. See, it's a lot less orange. So there are all of the comparison swatches. Really quickly, I just want to mention the shades that are in the Pastel Pup palette that don't have anything comparable in the Creepy Cute, because there are quite a few of them. I'm not going to live swatch all of them just because they don't swatch that well, so I don't think it'll be very helpful. But the shade Cuddle is a very true pink, nothing close to that. The shade Snack is a very true coral, again, nothing close. Sunbathe, there is no yellow in the Creepy Cute. And then the shade Ice Cap is kind of like a purpley blue. Again, nothing similar. There is one metallic shade, and obviously Creepy Cute is all mattes. And then there is also a white matte, which is not in the Creepy Cute. All right, now getting down to my final thoughts on the palettes, I feel like I can sum this up pretty quickly. The Pastel Pup palette, I feel like, is a major pro. The fact that it has so many different colorful options. I feel like obviously there's a lot more here. There's a lot of really beautiful shades. You can do a whole pastel rainbow with this. So the actual color story in this palette definitely has got it going on. I love the color story here, and I could see myself reaching for the actual colors in this more than the colors in the Creepy Cute palette. But that being said, I feel like I don't like the formula of this as much as I like the Creepy Cute palette, because I absolutely 100% have to go in with a white base with this palette. I just feel like it's necessary, or else I won't get the pigmentation that I want. I mean, I guess I could backtrack and say I don't have to go in with a white base. It's just going to be kind of mediocre and not as pigmented, and I'm going to have to spend a long time building the shades up, whereas using a white base makes that whole process that much easier. So I think that really does just come down to personal preference. I think that the shades in this palette are worth working a little bit harder for because they are so beautiful. However, in general, I like the formula of the Creepy Cute more just because I find it a little bit easier to work with. I find the shades to be a little bit brighter, a little bit more pigmented. I can't remember what I did for my first impression with this palette because that was a while back, but every time that I've used it in the last year or so, I know I have never gone in with a white base, and I actually prefer it even more without a white base. I just like using a regular eyeshadow primer, and it blends super easy. It's so pigmented. Every time I go in with these shades, I'm just like, oh my gosh, the pigment is crazy. They're just like bam on the eyes without needing any extra help. So I feel like that's a pro for me. Like, this formula is a little bit easier to work with, but there's no like beautiful pink, and there's no like extra purple, and there's no yellow, and there's no coral in here, which the coral in the Pastel Pup palette is such a pretty shade. So I feel torn. I really, really like both of them, but I think it really does just come down to personal preference. If you're more of a beginner and you just want a few pops of pastels and you want something super easy to work with, this could be great. If you are someone who is a little bit more advanced, or you don't mind taking the little extra steps and you want a more varied color story, then this could be perfect for you. The really good news here is that the Creepy Cute palette, every single shade is available as a single, and Menagerie hasn't done it yet, but all of their other palettes, they have released the individual shades as singles, so I can only assume that'll be coming with the Pastel Pup as well. So you could potentially create your own perfect color story and get the single shades that you want rather than having to pick from each palette, which is awesome because there's some shades I would definitely pick from Shroud, some shades I would definitely pick from Pastel Pup, and then you can have the best of both worlds without having to purchase the entire palette from each brand. So I think that's like the cherry cherry on top of this video is the fact that, like I said, it's not available yet for Pastel Pup, but I have an inkling that it'll probably be coming soon. I'm sure that they're working to get this palette back in stock, and then eventually they'll do singles. Normally it's a little bit further down the line they release the palette and give it its own moment. That's like the cherry on the ice cream. I don't know why I'm saying that because I don't even like cherry. That's the marshmallows on the hot chocolate of this video, so now I really want hot chocolate. If you enjoy my indie content and you have not subscribed already, I definitely recommend subscribing, obviously. I kind of like my channel. I think it's a pretty cool place, so I'd love to have you here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.